Hello, welcome to my Life Story Jar programme. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I've been teaching writing for years, and for several of those I've known I needed to create an online programme, but it all seemed too much work, too complicated, and I'd got other things to do. But I think the universe has a habit of bonking people on the head. Well, it certainly bonks me on the head and keeps on making me realise something until I really have to sit up and take note. Well, what happened last year? Well, actually several things happened last year. First of all, I had two separate clients that I was helping to write books, and both those books were talking about the value of creating an online programme. You see, when you create an online programme, you can make whatever it is you're offering cheaper and more accessible, and in so doing you can help more people, and that was really what I wanted to do. Rather than just helping, in fact, 6 people a year to write their books on a one-to-one basis, I could help an awful lot more. So that was the main driver, but I still didn't do it. And then my father became ill. He had cancer and dementia and ended up in a care home. He was 90, and earlier that year he had had his 90th birthday, and we had produced a book of stories and photographs of his life, and we'd taken it to the care home and left it there for the nurses. Well, the nurses were absolutely delighted, because they said that in looking at this they could see who my father was, and they would then know what to talk to him about. Of course, we loved the book because it gave us a really good record of his life, and I'm so glad that we did it. So that was the second bonk on the head. And then I started to work with a client who was a bit different from the others. She wanted to work with me one-to-one on a long-term basis, but she didn't want me to help her write a book. She just wanted to work on shorter pieces, poems, stories, pieces of narrative. And while I was doing this with her, I realised that there was great value in creating individual pieces, because although she wasn't writing her life story as a memoir, she was still sharing her life with the page. And I started to see these pieces as a bit like a mosaic or a stained glass window, and all the pieces, when put together, did create a whole, and I found that a really exciting idea. So I thought, yeah, I like this idea of helping people to write pieces rather than one whole book. But I didn't know what to call it. And then I saw something on Facebook, I think it was, about the Japanese 15th century art of kintsugi, which is when you have a piece of porcelain, maybe a vase or a bowl, and it breaks, and it's stuck back together again, glued back together with golden glue. These pieces, these cracks, the golden glue that is covering these cracks, are known as precious scars. And once a piece of kintsugi has been made, the object is actually more valuable, more precious, and more beautiful, and it is at once strong but also vulnerable. And I could see great parallels with life, and how we too are born perfect, and then things happen to us, and maybe we break along the way, but we manage to put ourselves back together again. And we become more resilient, we become stronger, and we become more interesting and more valuable as a result of those stories. And I started to see that if we considered our stories were the pieces of the kintsugi, then maybe the golden glue that connected our stories together was the sharing, whether we share our stories verbally or with the page. But of course, in sharing with the page, we are preserving our stories for the future, for posterity, for our families. And I could see great value in that. But I still needed a name for this programme. I got the concept, and now I needed a name. And then one day my husband Ian suggested a ginger jar rather than a vase. And I really liked the ginger jar for a couple of reasons. One was it was a storage jar, and the joker in me likes the fact that storage jar, story jar, they sound pretty similar. But the other thing was that a ginger jar has a lid. And when we keep a lid on our own stories, don't we? We keep a lid on our truth. We keep our mouths shut. And I could see a great parallel there. So I thought, yes, we can preserve our stories in a storage jar, in a ginger jar. And I did really like that metaphor. So I'd got my idea, I needed a ginger jar, I needed it to look like kintsugi. And then I thought, well, the next thing I need is an artist. So I contacted my friend Kath Brew, who runs drawntoastory.com, and she read my mind and she created the most beautiful jar that you see on the materials that I'm sending you. And then I went one step further. If you can see this around my neck, this is a silver and gold version of the life story jar, and it was created by a jeweller he calls himself a sculptural jeweller in Penang. His name is Jonathan Yun, and I am actually now going to be making earrings and a charm for a bracelet of the life story jar, and I think the metaphor is very strong and it means a huge amount to me. So, we have the Life Story Jar programme. Thank you, Ian, for that idea. As you progress through this programme, you're going to receive a weekly email, and the weekly email will always have a lesson in it, and you will be given a task. You will be given the lessons, and you can read them, or you can listen to them. Sometimes you will have a video, and once a month you will be invited to listen to and join a webinar. If you are taking the basic program, then you get all that for free, and you can do as many of the exercises as you like, or if some of them really don't appeal, you don't have to do them all. Of course, it's completely and utterly up to you, but the exercises are going to be geared around you writing about your own lives, what you know, what has happened to you. We'll be sharing your wisdom as well, and you'll also be encouraged to write about your parents, your grandparents, and other people in your family, so that the stories you create will have a much further reach. I want to help to teach you to paint a picture with your pen, to write stories that leap off the page. And I hope that as you join with me, you will do just that, and you will start to grow. Now, if you've taken the bonus programme, you can send up to 1,200 words of your writing to me every month, and I will assess it and send back comments. If you're on the basic programme, you can upgrade to the bonus programme if you'd like. But the other thing you can do if you want is to send me your work, and I will be able to look at that on an ad hoc basis. I need to see how much I can manage to cope with in the time, so bear with me as I devise how that will be priced. I want to be flexible though, so you can upgrade, you can downgrade, and you can also cancel at any time. So, I hope that you will join me on this programme and that you will enjoy following it as much as I have enjoyed creating it. I hope you will enjoy preserving your stories for posterity, for your family, for your friends, for your tribe, and I hope that you will enjoy joining me and giving your all to the Life Story Jar programme. Thank you.